The lesson.
Oh yeah.
At what point did was the next thing you entered a competition? You were doing the house parties and shit like that. What was sort of the next thing that came from that, and when did that happen?
I was seeing all the DMC competitions on video, VHS back then, and I started going, oh, holy crap, okay, now this is, Cash Money, Aladdin, you know what I mean? All kinds of old school. There's so many of them, I'm not going to mention them, but it's just like, yeah, okay, so that opened up a whole nother perspective from mixing two records together, okay, cool, to really going beyond that point. That's when I really got heavy into it. So all these parties I would DJ, I started applying those types of, techniques to my mixing capabilities. And then people started taking notice of it, and to the point where they would introduce me to other people who had linkages into other areas, and they say, you gotta check this guy out, blah blah blah. And to me, I gotta check this guy out. And then the first person, okay, so there was this DJ, and he's still around. His name's Cool Hand Luke. He was a DJ that used to play at this place called the Pavilion Tavern, and it was like, it was bumping, like it was slamming right near Town Hall. And I'd go up and I'd watch him play, underage and all, but I'd just sneak in. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And I would go right there and watch him play. Because the thing is, I never actually sat and saw people do it like really close up. Like, these are adults versus I'm a kid, you know what I mean? So when I got into clubs and I watch him play, I was just like going, damn, like, okay. And he was mixing it up, man. He was the one DJ who would he'd mix a commercial R&B track, and all of a sudden he'd flip it to Freedom Got an AK from the Lynch Mob, and the whole fucking place would just jump. I was like, fuck. This guy can flip it, you know what I mean? And that's where I got my, I started doing that shit. I started flipping records with your top 40 tracks, and then your raw hip hop tracks and all that. And I watch him cut. He wasn't much of a scratch DJ, but what I learned from him was, programming and all that. And getting to know those types of guys introduced me to people like KC's, your AS's, GJJ, all those other guys. And then all I had to do was flip it, and then that's it. It became like, you're one of us. You got to hang out with us, and I wanted to hang out with them. So, and then we formed this sort of, we weren't a crew. We were just associates who just believed in, this art form and wanted to get better at it. With those DJs I was hanging out with, that they wanted to get close to me, and I wanted to get close to them, because we just shared that, mutual passion to improve ourselves for what we do. And then there was this one competition that came up, which is called the Studio Battle. And I entered that, and I think Danielson was in that battle as well. That's the first time I met Danielson from Coolism. And he was like, before my time a little bit, he already had a name for himself, and there was a few other people that were in that space as well. And all of a sudden, this lengthy guy comes in, malnourished, like, seriously, I was skinny, a skinny kid, and just took it out. And then that's when I think people started, the word got out, there's this new person, this new kid in town, no one knows him. And Sydney or Australia, they'd love an underdog. You know what I mean? And that's what it was, basically. It was just breath of fresh air, new kid, new tricks, bag of tricks, and wasn't involved in politics.
And then, so what was the result of entering that first comp?
the result, well, yes, I mean, blew it away. There was a couple of contenders in there. They were pretty good. Like I was like, yeah, you know, but it was a local battle. You know what I mean? It was always like my taste in not much in the competitive space. It was more like, hey, I'm here. Out of all those years of me practicing, how do I position now in this area? You know what I mean? And that gave me a lot of confidence to go, yeah, okay, this is it. So from now on, it's just full steam ahead. Yeah.
And from that point on, is that when you decided to take the jump and enter the DMCs? Or did you enter ITFs and that as well? Or
No, I didn't really feel like it. I didn't have that kind of buzz or urgency at the time, because I didn't feel I needed to just yet. I wanted to. I wanted to when I was ready. But what happened is 95, 96, I think it was 96. 95 was that studio battle. Sorry, 96 was the ITFs or DMCs. I can't remember which one it was. So I entered this, and then I won the New South Wales, and when I went to Melbourne to compete for New South Wales, shit. Oh my God, I can't believe it to this day. So I went to sound check, and you gotta basically do your set, making sure everything's right, everything's weighted right, the decks are fine, it's gonna work for you. Did my routine, and then the other DJs that were there from all over the country kind of just went, holy fuck, we got a problem here. Already I knew it was gonna be an easy win. I was just like, okay, cool. I was starting to feel really, really confident. And then went back to the hotel with the person I was seeing at the time, had some dinner, had a shower, came back, left my needles in the hotel room.
that, yeah.
I was like, shit, what am I gonna do now? It's too far from Swanson Street where I'm at. So I look around to someone I can trust. And I looked at the Adelaide boys. I was like, next, I need your fucking needles. You won't believe this shit. And he's just like, oh fuck, man. Yeah, of course you can borrow them. And I thought, there's no way he's gonna lend them to me, because if I fuck him up, then he's fucked up. And I used them, and he had order phones. He had order phones, and I was a shore person, which means I needed weights, heavy. They were very heavy set needles, and they skipped all over the place. And it was just, yeah, it was really terrible, because I spent so much time for this routine, and it was just gone to the bin. And I just, after that, I said no to competing. Yeah.
And that was the first and the last time you jumped in a DMC?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I just, for some reason, I was just really, really upset by it. And yeah, when I look back, I kind of think I should have went fuck it and did it again just to prove my point. But I didn't really have that type of, I think, was the kind of person, I guess I thought about it and I went, I don't need to compete. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know what I'm good at. I'm comfortable where I'm at. I took a different route from that point on. I wanted to be, here's what and going back to your first point about how I got started into this. I grew up watching Terminator X. You know what I'm saying? Valley of the Jeep Beats. These guys had albums. These guys had their own presence. They weren't competitive DJs. I wanted to pursue a place where I wanted to make my own mark. I was my own product market fit. You know what I mean? And I wanted to base it around an identity as an artist versus a competitor. And I thought there was more value in me doing that versus competing all the time. because I really didn't have anything I wanted to prove. If you really, if you look at it that way. So,
Yeah.
but it took me a while to figure that out. So that's where I started taking a different route going. I wanted to learn more about production, and build my own market in Australia, obviously, which was really hard at the time because we didn't have the numbers. Yeah, people go Australian hip hop back then wasn't huge, or it wasn't. A lot of people didn't dig it. We just didn't have the numbers, man. It was a niche market, but
Yeah.
it was like, well, there's a lot of people that really, really, loved it. But just again, we're not living in New York. Unfortunately for us, we just population.
The lesson.
927. Oh yeah.